Anthony Webster, Las Vegas Sun. Bruce, did you ever get an explanation about McNabb's penalty in overtime? Because it seemed like it just happened so late and didn't really make a call until
I didn't
talk with the refs.
I didn't get it yesterday. I got one. I inquired about it this morning. So one of the officials blew it down eventually, and they huddled up to make sure they got the right person. That's what I was told. So they didn't take the wrong guy, or looked at it to make sure they got McNabb and not someone else.
Mark Anderson, AP. How much, I guess, urgency is tomorrow night, considering you don't want to, you don't want to give Dallas more of an opening, and you want to go ahead and wrap it up and have to go back there? Well,
there's urgency every night. I think, you get asked that question. It's not like we went into last night's game not wanting to win. We had two opportunities earlier to finish series. We did both. Last night we lost a game in overtime where I thought there's some good hockey, pockets of good, and pockets where they were better than us, and I think we were better than them at times. So at the end of the day, we'll, as we always do, look at the things that can help us be better. But there's urgency, but there's always pushback from when teams lose a game, or in this case, they lost 3. So you have to expect that, and I look at it as their best players made some plays, and their goaltender was solid, ours was solid, and the shot makes the difference, We're net front battle, and we get called for, a penalty in a battle, and they take advantage. So there wasn't a lot to choose from, and now you go to tomorrow, and we'll have a mindset of we want to finish it off again, and we just need to do the little things right to do it, and be on time with them. Maybe that's where we could have been better, is right from the get-go, get to your game. But I think every team is trying to, no one goes into a game thinking, oh, we'll wait around to the second period. It's just the way it works out some nights.
Yes, Granger with The Athletic. I remember going up to Dallas after Game 2, we kind of asked you about the matchups, and you said, well, let's see how Pete kind of does things in Dallas. Now that you played 2 games with him having last change, how different do you think it is now that you're back at home?
Well, they've got one dynamic line. They've got other very good players. It's why they're where they are, and they rely on that line, and it was the difference last night. So we have certain players we feel that can neutralize it maybe better than others, and sometimes it's night to night. I like all our center icemen. They're all good defensively, skate well. That's something to keep up with Hintz. To get over top of him, you have to skate well. So we've used William Karlsson, and we've talked about that and why. He's done a good job. And at home, you can control that a little more. Again, we don't want to get out of the rhythm of our game, but I'm sure you'll see tomorrow. We'll try to use that, assuming we're not putting a tired William Karlsson line out there because they've just killed a penalty, but on the power play, whatever the case may be. So we're going to trust the people that go over the boards. There's a D pair involved in that too. I think we had a breakdown on the 5-on-5 goal just before they scored in our net front situation. We could have put out a fire. So there's some things you can do differently, and that's the teaching part of it. So I don't know if he'll try to keep them away all night. All I know is we're going to roll our 4 lines. Who they play against, like I said, might change in game, but generally speaking, we trust all our players, and Carly's been really good in that role, and if he's the guy that has it, hopefully he has success.
Bruce, Gary Lawless, Vegas Golden Knights. You've got 50 goals in the press box right now, 50 National Hockey League goals, and Ben Hutton. You've won 5 of your last 6. How do you sort of gauge looking at your depth and considering it, and then also it's not broke, why fix it?
Well, I like the last part a lot better. So we're not going to lose a game and assign blame to an individual. If there's a better player to go in, we'll talk about it. We made a change the last series to have another center ice, and we discussed that. Part of it was Carly's situation. Part of it's just having another centerman that could skate with some high-end centermen. Right now, I like our group of 18 guys, and some nights there's a line that's better than another that we could get a little more out of, but at the end of the day, I think they've all contributed. That's why we're up 3-1. So that's how we're looking at it. Now, if there's an injury or a guy that's playing through one that's hindering his play, then yes, we'll say, okay, maybe maybe we got to give him a break and put someone else in. We certainly trust the guys that are sitting up in the press box, but we always discuss that, and we've done it once, and we'll do it again if need be.
Paulo Dos Santos, NHL.com. Bruce, Jack Eichel hasn't found the net this series, but he's impacting the game in so many ways. How much has this game evolved from the beginning of this playoffs to now in terms of impacting the game in other ways other than scoring?
He just looks more confident, more. He's putting himself in situations to demand the puck, and by that I mean puck support. He's coming skating off the puck well, so you're almost forced to give it to him. He's finding that ice. Last night was a good example. He was in space quite a bit. Breakaway, 2-on-1, some outside drives on a couple of their D 1-on-1. He took them on. So that's when you know a guy's feeling it, when you start challenging people 1-on-1. It's only a matter of time if he gets those opportunities that he'll score. Got to credit the goalie last night. He made some good saves on him. So that's where his game's evolved. I think he's a little more just knowing he can be a difference maker. At the start, I think there's a bit of a feeling out process for everybody in their first playoff, and I think he got to it fairly quickly. But that's probably the difference right now. Just a little more, give me the damn puck, and I want to be a difference maker. And he's done it at both ends of the ice. If you watch him away from the puck, when it gets turned over, he's one of the first guys tracking back to try to keep it out of our net. So it's both ends of the ice.
Bruce, Darren Millard, Vegas Golden Knights. Given that the overtimes haven't lasted long and you coach a 4-line team, what's your approach going into an extra session with your bench management?
Well, we approach it like we're going to use everybody, but you're coming out of an intermission, so we haven't gotten far enough, I don't think, to sort of say we're going to play 3 lines for a stretch here, or double up if a line's really had a good shift. So that would be it, but we would still use everybody, like Winnipeg, for example, right? We went into a second overtime. We used all 4 lines. They probably played a shifter, maybe less a period or 2, but the line that scored the goal was Howden, Barbashev, and Amadio. So, I think that it works for us. It just does. I mean, typically our 4th line, maybe they don't score as much, but you can rely on them to defend well and play the right way. So it might neutralize one of their offensive lines, and then you have an imbalance with your next 3. So I've looked at it that way a lot. Regular season, overtime. Obviously, things are magnified in overtime, one mistake, but I think our 4th line are usually not victimized by poor mistakes. And sometimes the other team just makes a good play and are out there against good players.
Adam Hill, Las Vegas TV Journal. Bruce, I know you've been happy with the kill for a while. Last night they got 2. Was there adjustments they made you have to adjust back to, or is that just the odds kind of catching up?
Well, the first goal, I think, was we went out to meet the high tip Pavelski, which you have to take that play away. It goes right to Robertson. He makes a really good, looks like it's in Hill's glove, right? So we were collapsing to there, and he makes a really high-end play. The other one, I think we just got, certainly there was a breakdown with our forward being a little bit low, but in general, the goalie loses his stick, and it became a bit of a mad scramble. They make a good play. So obviously we got to you can't allow them multiple power play goals. I think that will catch up to you. It did last night. Where we can be a little bit better is probably is zone denials, face-off clears, all those things limit your time in your end. We've talked about that a lot. I think that's where we can make small adjustments, probably without getting out of our structure in our own end. But like I said, give them credit. They hit the net. Great shot by Pavelski. We had a power play too, and if we execute better, maybe it turns out different. So we have to look at both sides of the coin. But again, PK in the playoffs has been probably the one area we need to find a way. And I don't think it's from lack of effort. We just got to find a way.
Danny Webster, Las Vegas Sun. Did you notice anything different without Ben in the lineup last night?
I mean, he's a good player for him. He's a net front presence, but they scored a net front presence power play goal with Robertson there. They scored another power play goal and he wasn't on it. So he obviously didn't hurt them in that area. There's a physicality element where he's good and effective on the forecheck. But I thought the guys they put in it seemed like that Olsen, I don't know a lot about him, had a solid game. So other guys picked up the slack for him. That's what you typically want to do for your captain. Yeah, and that's what we would have liked to do for Nabry, you know, and that penalty late. You know, no one wants to take a penalty in overtime. He's just battling a guy, and we